Hello, everybody. How goes it? Give a little bit of time for everyone to come on in and share this where it needs to be shared. All right. Let's see here. All right, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff. All right. Just doing a little solo stream today. Shit. We will be with Dieter tomorrow. For the regularly scheduled Left Coast Live. And I'm just putting the final touches on this and that. All right. Post this where it needs to be. Blue Sky and all those other places. Okay. Account. Live now. All right. Oh, yeah, let's just do that. Why can't we just do that? I can't believe I didn't even think about that before. Entire screen. How about that? Wow. That's what I'm talking about. That makes things so much easier. Let me see. How's that look? All right. Potential spam. Who is this? What is this? Hello? Don't you hate spam calls? All right. Yeah, we got a lot to go over. I figured because we didn't get to a whole lot of what happened over the month, at least in enough detail, I figured, this is probably the best way to go about it. Just do a recap of the entire month. Go deep into a few things that happened here and there. This has been an insane month. So much stuff has happened. I guess we'll start off with this. Trump went missing for a little while because he loves the cameras. He doesn't go without being in front of the camera for any length of time. And so people were thinking like, what did he have a health episode? Did he die? Did he like what happened to him? And so you had speculation happening here and there, and I'm looking, and looks like I didn't really retweet anything that shows the fact that he had a stroke. That's what happened. You can see pictures of him. You can see him at the I think it was the, what was it? The Jimmy Carter Memorial? It was some sort of memorial. I don't think it was for 9/11 because he came out and showed himself much before that. But you can see one half, like one side of his face drooping down, and he just looked exhausted. He looked miserable. But I guess now he's doing okay. But you had funny tweets like this. Let me go ahead and oh, that's annoying. There we go. You had Eric Doherty saying, just in, liberals are down bad this morning upon seeing 47 up and well in good shape heading out onto the golf course. They speculated he was ill. He's not. They lied, but are we surprised? Retweeted by Sundieri Hoots saying, that's not what down bad means, Eric. Pretty funny. But yeah, it was for like a week almost. It was these strange shots of Trump from a distance. And or it was old photos. There was like clearly a cover up that was happening. And then, this is kind of foreshadowing what we're going to be talking about later, but creators saying, I don't remember the right being this way with Biden. They might make jokes, but this hoping and wishing for a president's death is extremely gross. And this is Vanilla Opinions. Just taking the piss out of the whole situation. Trump dies at 79. It finally happened. This claim is false. Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it's so funny because Rock Salton says, I saw so many right-wingers making fun of the suicide of a trans kid constantly for weeks simply because they were trans. These people do not deserve empathy, compassion, or respect. Yeah, so it's just mostly a lot of hypocrisy. It's going to be a common theme today. That was a common theme all month, really. This month has really been like a whole reassessment for a lot of people on just so many things. Moving along, what else happened here? So the Trump administration is super desperate to start a war, basically, with Venezuela. And you had this happen, and everybody was quick to point out, like, hey, what the fuck? U.S. military destroyed the Venezuelan drug boat in international waters with 10 Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists aboard, the Trump admin says. Still no proof that was actually the case, or that this was like what they say it was. Kenneth Roth pointing out here, saying drug trafficking is a crime, not an act of war. Traffickers must be arrested, not summarily executed, which U.S. forces just illegally did. which is true. New York Times laundering Trump's illegal and offensive terrorist attack, mass murder of people on a tiny Venezuelan boat. The media is a disgrace. Imagine Venezuela bombed an American boat and murdered 10 people. How would they react? And, the Trump administration saying the boat strike is the start of a campaign against Venezuelan cartels. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just borrowing from the imperialist neocon school of thought from the likes of like John Bolton, who wanted conflict with Venezuela for a hot minute now. But we'll see. The Intercept saying that a high-ranking Pentagon official told the Intercept Trump's strike on a boat in the Caribbean was a criminal attack on civilians, and two government officials said that Pete Hegseth's rationale for the strike came together after the fact. So this is probably what led the Pentagon to be like, or for Pete Hegseth to instruct the Pentagon, hey, no more talking to the press without approval. And I've also heard recently that Hegseth is kind of losing his fucking mind right now. Like he's going like cuckoo bananas. Maybe I'll find something regarding that here in a little bit. But he's lost his fucking mind. He's very erratic, according to his staffers. It's not good. This guy's the head of the Department of Defense. Here we go. Let's actually close these as we get down to Nathan J. Robinson saying after Trump killed 11 people on a boat with zero legal justification and zero evidence offered that they were members of a cartel, Democrats have, of course, fully denounced this outrageous abuse of power. Oh, wait, no, they're being silent, so they're not soft on cartels. Where have we heard that logic before? Sharing an excerpt here. I'm not exactly sure where from, but it says, but Democrats in Congress who are quick to condemn Trump's strikes against Iranian nuclear sites have struggled to find a unified message that won't make them look soft on drug cartels. Tim Kaine, who has pushed to ensure Congress authorizes military actions, told reporters he's still, quote, digging into, unquote, the legality of the strike and didn't elaborate on his concerns. Representative Ro Khanna and Senator Bernie Sanders, who are usually quick to note overuse of presidential power, did not respond to requests for comment. Yeah, and then of course, you have this from this exchange from Brian Krasenstein and J.D. Vance, and Brian rightfully pointing out killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime. And then our vice president saying, I don't give a shit what you call it. I mean, why not just call it murder? And keep in mind, in the same exact thread, which it cuts off here, there are other images, but J.D. Vance is lying, clearly, and defending the strikes because, of course, he is. Man stands for nothing, just going along to get along. But yeah, openly bragging about doing war crimes. But if the shoe was on the other foot, if any other country did it to us, I wonder if he would have the same take. Let's see. Next up, well, I guess I might as well get this out of the way because I thought this was interesting. Because this also happened in the middle of September. Uh, you have Curtis Yarvin here, brainchild behind, I guess, a lot of the ideological leanings of people like J.D. Vance. It's saying here, J.D. Vance's favorite political thinker doesn't know the difference between the Roma and the Romanians. Saying here, him responding to my latest article is in Paladin magazine. The article is about Romania and specifically why it seems to do so incredibly well in international academic competitions. And Curtis Yarvin responds, yet in every other country, in almost every sociological category, the Roma stand out as underperforming outliers, a statistical puzzle. What is the secret sauce? Could be served to other underrepresented populations. Maybe we just need to give the use more standardized tests. Of course, because he's against standardized testing. Um, yeah, the Roma is not the same as the Romanians. William F. Buckley, William B. Buckley, opinion haver, saying Yarvin had this entire mythology built up around him. And then, as soon as he started posting here, it became extremely clear that he was just stupid, and not in the high-level, rigorous analysis reveals tensions in his ideas way, but just a dumb guy who doesn't know things way. And yeah, um, as awful as like these dark MAGA tech bro types are, and like their ideological ideas, what they stand for, are all just completely fucking vile and morally indefensible. They're all really fucking stupid, honestly. Lo and behold. And after that, what we got? We have the UN finally coming out 2 years in the making. 2 years too late, if you ask fucking anybody, honestly. Coming out and saying, yeah, what Israel is doing is a genocide. And you have right here Rashid Tlaib retweeting Reuters saying no one should have a problem calling it genocide now. With Reuters reporting, the International Association of Genocide Scholars passed a resolution stating Israel's actions in Gaza meet the legal definition of genocide under the 1948 UN Genocide Convention. So, I mean, they're still going to continue to deny it, but this does make a big difference because it lends credibility to the fact that genocide is happening. Because right after this happened, Bernie Sanders finally came out and said, "Yeah, Israel's committing genocide." It took him a while, but he finally gave in. So yeah, we got so that we're still early in the month here, but what also happened was the Senate hearing that was conducted where RFK Jr. was grilled for his opinions and his competence or lack thereof. And basically, like, grilling him, like, are you really fit for this job? Do you really know what you're doing? And turns out, obviously, fucking no. Like, obviously, no. Well, specifically, I want to point this out. This exchange that took place. Is from the Bulwark. Oh, it's gold. Like, so candid. You can't write this shit. Hmm. Yeah. So retweeted by Peter Twinklage, which is that really your name? Reminds me of Peter Dinklage. Anyway, yeah, remarkable stuff. Absolutely hilarious. And also, we had earlier this month the NRA saying trans rights. NRA supports the Second Amendment rights of all law-abiding Americans to purchase, possess, and use firearms. NRA does not and will not support any policy proposals that implement sweeping gun bans that arbitrarily strip law-abiding citizens of their Second Amendment rights without due process. And this was done in the face of basically it being floated by either Trump or Trump's inner circle or um, conservative pundits that, well, I mean, maybe trans people shouldn't even get guns. And then the NRA comes out and is like, want to bet? So, yeah, shall not be infringed. It holds true. They're sticking to it. Say what you want about the NRA, but at least they're principled, despite being, pretty complicit when it comes to gun violence in America, paying off senators and representatives. Well, they're one of the biggest political action committees in the country next to APAC. And so they have a gigantic influence. But, here they're right, you know, absolutely right. I mean, you can disagree with the Second Amendment. I mean, I personally don't, but it's good that they it's actually it's super funny that they came out like in the face of this pressure because it's become an ongoing theme like this whole month. The Trump regime suggests they want to do something, and then some entity comes out and is like, "No, I don't think so," and they back off. It's happened multiple times, and we'll get into a few other instances of that. Um, I forgot that this happened this month, but the Supreme Court came out and said, "Oh, I mean, they've said a whole bunch of things, honestly, but this decision they made in particular, it boggles the mind because it flies in the face of past decisions and rulings that they have made regarding race and preferential treatment. Hello, Megan. It's good to see you. It's good to see that you're here. Flies in the face of decisions that have touched on preferential treatment based on race and ethnicity and background and this, that, and the other. Let's see here. All right, so God, I can't even click on the right one. Supreme Court saying considering race as one factor in college applicants' file is blatantly unconstitutional, but also Supreme Court considering race as one factor in targeting people to detain and deport is cool, cool, cool. Yeah, the Supreme Court today giving Trump a license to engage in racial profiling, with Justice Kavanaugh writing a concurrence to expressly endorse ICE and Border Patrol targeting any Latinos they observe in LA speaking Spanish and then demanding their papers. It is not hyperbole to say that thanks to today's decision, every Latino citizen in LA should consider carrying their passport or birth certificate with them at all time. The Supreme Court has now essentially greenlit Trump's DHS demanding their papers at any point. So yeah, good shit here. All right, so here, these circumstances include that there is an extremely high number and percentage of illegal immigrants in the LA area, that those individuals tend to gather at certain locations to seek daily work, that those individuals often work in certain kinds of jobs, such as day labor, landscaping, agriculture, and construction, that do not require paperwork and are therefore especially attractive to illegal immigrants, and that many of those illegally in the LA area come from Mexico or Central America and do not speak much English. To be clear, apparent ethnicity alone cannot furnish reasonable suspicion under this court's case law regarding immigration stops. However, it can be a relevant factor, in quotations, when considered along with other salient factors. Under this court's precedents, not to mention common sense, these circumstances taken together, I don't know why. God damn, dude. Taken together can constitute at least reasonable suspicion of illegal presence in the United States. Importantly, reasonable suspicion means only that immigration officers may briefly stop the individual and inquire about immigration status. Oh, well, I mean, I'm so relieved now. Briefly stop, you say? Not detain indefinitely for multiple days at a time? Huh, okay. I have total faith in you, Justice Kavanaugh. Finishing off here, if the person is a U.S. citizen or otherwise lawfully in the United States, that individual will be free to go after the brief encounter. If the person is illegally in the United States, may the stop lead to further immigration proceedings. Interesting. Damn, it took a long time to cover this one. Well, we covered it briefly when it actually happened, but this is just part of the recap. I'm basically going over old tweets from this month and retweets and whatnot. I think the law gives him up to 3 days detention. Interesting. I didn't know that. I mean, either way, that's like, it's still ridiculous in my opinion. I'm basically like catching up on my feed and like adding tabs and stuff because this has been like the longest month of the year so far, and I don't think it's really even close, if I'm being real. Let's see here. You had Israel striking Qatar, which we covered briefly, and the Prime Minister of Qatar told CNN that Israel has effectively killed any hope at a deal that would release the hostages currently being held in Gaza. And Qatar's pretty pissed. You know, we gave Trump, what the fuck? We gave you a jumbo jet, you know, and this is how you repay us, by signing off on Israel carrying out this strike. Insane. Qatar. Well, should I say Qatar? I don't know. I've heard it commonly referred to as Qatar, so I just stick with that out of convenience, I suppose. Let's see. So there's the SCOTUS thing, and then there was this from, you know, the ongoing Epstein saga, and Speaker Mike Johnson coming out and saying, "Oh, well, actually, Trump was an FBI informant," you know, and then me just taking the piss out of the whole thing is no Qatar is closer than Qatar. Okay. Well, you said Qatar lol, so I figured like you were teasing me. So I got, so I felt I had to be a little bit defensive, you know. Anyway, yeah, just taking the piss out of the whole Trump being an FBI informant for um, the fact that he was Jeffrey Epstein's friend for decades. No, you guys, Trump has actually been an agent of the FBI for decades now. His signed birthday note to Epstein 22 years ago with the crude drawing of a young female body with his signature as the pubic hair. It was just part of the operation. This was 30 plus years in the making. Simple 69D chess. Trust the plan. I might as well have added like a hashtag Q. WWG, wherever the fuck. Where we go on, we go wherever the fuck. The Q has almost glottal sound. Oh, I see. Okay, for sure. Why young? What? Huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I see what you mean. Like a meaningless distinction. Yeah. I don't know why I said. I don't know why I made that distinction. And then, of course, the biggest news that we'll get into here of the month. During yeah. I have no idea. Really weird that I did that. Let's see here. Do I want to add this? I had a lot of things to say, obviously. Oh, people didn't like this. I'll add that to the docket because I got multiple tabs here of stuff I want to cover. Yeah, we've gotten through like the first week and a half of September so far, and then we're gonna get into some more recent shit. Just to you know. All right. Let's just dive in here. All right. So Charlie Kirk got shot. No, not that right. Move that for one for later. You have Utah Speaker Mike Schultz confirming that Charlie Kirk is dead, and this was 2:32 local time. If this is true, this is from Emma Vigeland. It's beyond sickening. We must all condemn this political violence. This country is filled with guns and mental illness, exacerbated by people not being guaranteed health care, so they are priced out of treatment. These are policy choices, and they are deadly. Absolutely true. From the serfs, there is no information yet on the Charlie Kirk shooter or the political motivation behind it. This was like just within hours of it happening. But that hasn't stopped major right-wing pundits immediately politicizing his shooting before a single fact is known. Graham Linham, they couldn't beat him in debate, so they shot him. Notice the they. Nick Sorter, the man who shot Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University, is reportedly in custody. The left has declared literal war on us. Democrats and their violent rhetoric. Oh, this is like, okay. Of course, Elon Musk famously saying the left is the party of murder, completely irresponsible. But what did this ketamine fucking addicted fool even give a shit? Laura Loomer, fucking insanity incarnate, saying it's time for the Trump administration to shut down, defund, and prosecute every single leftist organization. Leftist organization. That's funny. In this day and age, organize what? If Charlie Kirk dies from his injuries, his life cannot be in vain. We must shut these lunatic leftists down once and for all. The left is a national security threat. Yeah, of course, before a single fact was even known. Insane. And then this is something I guess I wrote out. Crazy how all the same people who want to deport 20 million people, legalize racial profiling for ICE work, strip away women's right to bodily autonomy and reproductive freedom, and to vote, and also want to erode due process, erase trans people, militarize American cities, and cheer on the continued mass slaughter of civilians with U.S. taxpayer dollars, are all calling for a little more sensitivity and respect. I'm sure more tax breaks to billionaires and billions cut from Medicaid, food assistance, FEMA, and the VA, etc., will grant you the sensitivity you're looking for, courtesy of the good old GOP. You keep getting duped into voting back into power. Of course, this attracted a couple, emotional, angry conservatives, I assume. Legal. We can look for this. This is funny. Deport 20 million illegal aliens who shouldn't be here anyway, and I have no idea where the fuck this guy's getting that number from. To make it illegal for women to murder their own children, of course, completely exaggeratory, fucking hyperbolic. 3, can't erase trans people because they don't actually exist. Okay, all right. And 4, shut up. God, these people are so fucking funny. Absolutely hilarious. Unhinged. God damn. All right, and then what else? If political violence has no place in our country, as everyone is dutifully reciting, then abolish ICE, abolish the DHS, abolish the police, abolish the Department of War, shut down the prisons, redistribute the wealth and resources, stop the extraction and pollution, and end billionaires. Yeah. Should be pretty obvious. Thunderbird, hello. Christian terrorism. Crazed shooters are not only Christians, but it was Christians, not Muslims, who attacked our nation's capital, overthrew our democracy, and forcing their theocracy on everyone. That is absolutely right. These Christian capitalists do not actually give a shit about democracy. Megan saying 20 million comes from CBP report of known getaways last 5 years. Interesting. It's trying to crash to terrorism. Right. All right. Let's see what else. And I retweet a whole lot of hypocrisy when it comes to Charlie Kirk and defending him, and the incompetence of the FBI and whatnot. Right wing openly plotting to use the killing of Charlie Kirk to end democracy in America. Not in any way speculating. Blah blah blah. Let's see. And this kind of got to me, but it's still being repeated. Yeah, FBI is definitely pathetic lately. It's crazy just how incompetent and feckless everyone in leadership is. Not to mention these agencies. You know, when you focus more about loyalism, that comes at the expense of competence and having people in there that actually know what the fuck they're doing and can do their job effectively and efficiently. You know, I did want to point this out here real quick. Let's see, I want to show this. This is Hassan reacting to the video of Charlie Kirk being shot, just to show you, like I'm a leftist because I believe in the humanity that the left sees, the left is able to pick up on, the left is able to identify with, to fight for. So when I see stuff like this, it resonates with me deeply. Yeah. Do I think Hassan got scared? Absolutely, without a doubt. And he's not the only one that's scared right now too. This whole incident is being it's like the catalyst for it's the catalyst right now for the massive crackdown. It's it's a big excuse for NSPM-7, which we'll get to here in a little bit. He sounds like he's about to throw up. Yeah. Now, yeah. Now keep in mind the ongoing narrative by the right since this happened is, everybody on the left was in total celebration of this. They condoned it widely and whatnot. And it's like every time I ask any of these fucking dishonest, decrepit conservatives just hyped up on it's go time. It's time to go to war. You don't know what you've awoken, leftists. You don't know what you just did. Every time I'm like, name me one figure on the left, one prominent political figure, one Democrat openly celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk, and they can't do it. God, I retweet so much shit. But it's just like even if the killer wasn't like nominally on the left, they would still like Charlie Kirk is a big enough figure to where I still think like his death will be used as an excuse to attack the left. I don't expect the most extremist of the right um, to engage in honest, good faith, you know, dialogue regarding his murder. Like this guy could have been a groyper, but it still could have been the narrative still could have been spun successfully that this guy was driven by political violence, like like extremist rhetoric and whatnot. It's just like, no, you guys just want to hurt the left. You guys just want to hurt leftists. You want to hurt Democrats. And I mean specifically Democratic reps. And that's the thing too. Like a lot of them are pointing out, like, oh, like Democrats own this. You see a lot of Democrats celebrating this. It's like you have no fucking idea what people's political affiliations are, or like at the very least, what party they're registered with. Because I would assure you, there there's no doubt that a lot of far leftists celebrated his murder. That I mean, there are people out there. I've seen some accounts that like couldn't give a fuck less that it happened, and made that pretty clear. But a lot of those people don't believe in the Democrats. I mean, myself included. A lot of those people aren't actually like registered Democrats or even vote for them. Like maybe it's like a lesser evil kind of thing, but it's like you're lumping all these people together hastily and generalizing them as if there's some sort of monolith. And this is just like this whole month has just made me reassess so many things, honestly. And hopefully it's done the same for a lot of people, but just this jingoistic, this tribalist, this just illogical lumping together of entire groups of people just to excuse your own desires to inflict pain on them because you see things differently politically. It's like you want to wish infinite pain upon another because they don't share your opinions about the universe. And I get it. Like I've had those feelings too. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I haven't. But if this month has shown like anything, you know, people just talk past each other. It's crazy how a lot of us, like on the left or like they're at least in tune with politics and whatnot, have been watching clips of defenseless people and children getting shot and bombed into pieces for the past 2 years. But now a whole bunch of normies are like exposed to Charlie Kirk getting his throat blown open, and it just goes to show who gets exposed to what. Like me, like obviously it's a traumatizing video, but like we've been seeing shit like this for years now. So like it that really plays into how emotionally jarring and traumatizing the up close videos were for a lot of Charlie Kirk fans, especially. Destiny, that's a good example. I mean, no one's defending Sex Pestiny over here. I'm telling you that much. Yeah, Kirk with a literal grin on his face called for his viewers to donate to GoFundMe for the release of the man who bludgeoned Pelosi with a hammer. That guy, yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, disgusting. And I've heard like actual audio clips of that guy recently. The assailant who bludgeoned Paul Pelosi with a hammer, and he sounded like a fucking crazy right winger. Sure, like he was fucking batshit insane, but a lot of these people who believe like super like niche conspiracies, they follow right wing circles. It like like some of the shit he was spinning, it's like, oh shit, I've heard these conspiracies for the better part of 5 years now since COVID like uh became a thing and shit. Not far left supports Democrats. I don't know about Celebrate, but definitely reacted poorly to Kurt's murder. Yeah, Destiny. Yeah. Um, there are a few for sure. Um, don't compare U.S. politics to foreign conflicts. That's ridiculous. Why? It's not exactly a foreign conflict if we're actively funding it. I mean, that's been the thing with the Gaza conflict for a minute now. Is like you'll have Israel defenders who are liberals or Democrat voters and whatnot be like, oh, why don't you care about Sudan or shit that's happening in Africa or whatever? Like, I don't hear you saying anything about that. It's just like, dude, it's U.S. tax money. It's U.S. taxpayer dollars that are going to the systematic eradication of the Palestinian people at the hands of a U.S. Ally. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, but you haven't seen DRC or Nigeria. Like, come on, right? Yeah, tax dollars of Africa too. Right. Yeah, I understand. I would say it's just like it's the most high profile example, I guess you could say. They not like us, indeed. But yeah, like Amazing Atheist saying right here from the day it happened. Half the right are like, "How dare you mean leftists promote violence? You're sick." And the other half are like, "We'll kill you all now. You have no idea what's coming. The streets will run red." And my question is, how do these two factions just pretend the other doesn't exist? I mean, sure, that's a generalizing statement right there, but it's also like, how do those two halves of like the Republican right reconcile with one another? You know? Yeah, countless examples. Within hours of no shooter being caught, no mother being uncovered, yet Charlie Kirk must be avenged by declaring war on the left. And like I said, they just want an excuse. I thought this was pretty funny. Well, of course, it was another one of those pesky leftist transgender professional snipers with military training who can hit a carotid artery from a distance of 200 yards. But apparently that shot's like, if you have like basic training, that shot's not exactly too hard to make. Of course, there's the angle of Charlie Kirk grappling with our ironclad support for Israel, according to Ryan Grimm here, in a serious way, and that the journey for him has been cut short. I might just like scroll through my Twitter and see what pops up. I really, because they white-ish, right? Yeah, sad reality. Peaceful side acknowledges and speak out against each other, but I don't know, vice versa, not as much. Right. Ian Carroll at UVU today. Really? I wonder what he's doing there. He's been very interesting lately. There have been a couple takes where I'm just like, oh, dude, you're kind of stretching a little bit, but he's he's a good boy. He's a cool guy. I kind of like them. I investigating the Jews. uh, um, let's see here. Oh yeah, and of course, like you can see in the image. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but you know, Trump definitely having had a stroke. Um, yeah, I wonder if let's see. Let's see here. Project for a New American Century. Yeah, I mean, and here's a good example of. I'm not sure how many of you saw this. I'm actually gonna let this play as I go get some water real quick. I'm feeling a little clammy. I'll be right back. This is Zohran Mamdani reacting to the murder of Charlie Kirk. Here we go. No volume on the video. Oh, that's so. So that whole thing just played without volume. Did that? Does that mean that like the RFK clip I played earlier had no volume either? That'd be really fucked. Um, that's really shitty. A couple key quotes, I guess, if there was no volume, was yet another victim of gun violence in a nation where what should be a rarity has turned into a plague. It cannot be a question of political agreement or alignment that allows us to mourn. It must be the shared notion of humanity that binds us all. Yes. Yes, 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 indeed. Um, hopefully you guys were able to see the captions at least, if there was no volume on that. Um, this was one of my favorites regarding because there's such a whitewashing of Charlie Kirk that's still going on, and I want to make sure. No, I don't want that. I'm actually going to test the audio real quick. Let's see here. I'm just going to test the audio real quick. All right. Oh, you're right. That's fucked. That's fucked. I don't know why it's doing that. It should, like, the whole browser should be being shared right now. So I'm not exactly sure why. Fuck it. We'll stave off clips until, I guess, later on in the stream. Which sucks because I actually really like that clip. That really sucked. Okay, let's see here. Tyler Robinson was the alleged shooter. Not black, not trans, not Muslim, not Hispanic. Kid who wore a Donald Trump costume for Halloween. Looking like a healthy family life. Let's see here. Turned to his authorities by his own father. Stephen Miller's wife saying that Utah was actually Utah Valley University is to blame, saying higher ed is a scam, and the kid dropped out like after like a month, I think. And they were all online courses. I think it was during COVID. So yeah, just gigacope. Let's see. I think it's time that we as a nation start talking about white on white violence in honor of Charlie Kirk and his passing. Shit. Of course, we had this shit that happened as well, where oh no, this isn't the clip I was thinking of. Trump saying he doesn't care less about fixing the country, from radical violence and whatnot. Josh Marshall saying Trump is the primary promoter of violence and incitement in the country. He is indifferent to and ignores the murder of Democratic elected officials, blames his opponents with zero evidence when Republicans are targeted. The violence and incitement of his own language barely registers anymore because it's so commonplace and expected. Trump is the reason this country has gone to fucking shit the past 10 years. Like, it's unrecognizable. There's no turning back. I mean, the country was always shit, but like under him, it's just gotten so much worse. So make sure yes online that's right. Soy Pill poking fun at Tim Pool and his stupidity. I guess we can cover this. Maybe, just maybe, stop being hateful and trying to control the rest of the country with hateful rhetoric. And Tim Pool saying this is a threat. That because of my speech, which they hate, they justify attempts to kill me, my family, and my staff. Just like, yeah, dude. Suggesting that you tone it down a bit is a threat, right? Soy Pill pointing out, if you think that's a threat, you're going to hate this tweet I found. It's Tim Pool saying the grooming of children is not stopping. People are calling for more violence. I do not think legislators will stop the grooming. People will not stop calling for violence. So you tell me what happens next. Uh-oh. Of course, and then it was only like 2 days later when Tyler Robinson was found, and we had this. Well, God, I really wish there's fucking audio worked. I'm not sure why it's not. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe I can figure it out. What is this? Okay, this share screen, entire screen. Also share system audio. That's what it fucking was. Okay, tell me if it works now.
Those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well.
All right, is it working? Yeah! Fuck yeah, motherfucker! All right, cool. All right, then we had this moment from Governor Spencer Cox of Utah.
I know there's been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had
30-06. Keep that in mind. Remember that.
A scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow."
You're totally right, Megan. That song is a banger. I have it on my Spotify. It's so good.
And a third unfired casing read, "If..."
This is my favorite part of the whole thing, and out of the context, it's fucking hilarious.
"You read this, you are gay, LMAO."
Specifically,
L. "If you read this
part,
you are gay, LMAO."
I'm such a child. What a month, right? So, there's been multiple school shootings or mass shootings in general this month. There's the 16-year-old Colorado high school shooter who was very much into Nazism. There's a far-right white nationalist teenager, and he idolized the Columbine shooters. Let's see here. Let's see. You got Jair Bolsonaro, sentenced to more than 27 years in a Brazil prison for attempting a coup after losing the 2022 election. And it's moments like this, and I couldn't agree with this tweet more, where I wish we can get Michael Brooks and his reaction on it, because Michael would be ecstatic. Let's see. Ezra Klein, being a neoliberal, saying Charlie Kirk practiced politics the right way, looking at blah 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 blah. Looking at from David Corn, looking at his election denialism and the use of extreme rhetoric, I question that. While we should all condemn this heinous assassination, we can still discuss its full impact on U.S. politics. Let's see. There's so much going on here. There was Trump's reaction to the whole thing. I mean, we won't stick on this for long, but like, there's just literally just so much surrounding it to where it's like, don't want to miss anything.
How are you holding up over the last 3.5 years? I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom.
That is going to get us into Jimmy Kimmel. Let's see here. Hypersensationalism. Damn, I retweeted a whole bunch of stuff around this time. People suspecting that he was a groiper, and that's still up in the air. And the thing, okay, so here's the thing too about Tyler Robinson. This we didn't really cover this much on Left Coast Live. Me and Dieter touched on a little bit here and there, but when it comes down to it, what we know now, Tyler Robinson's politics, or I guess ideological leanings, are still pretty ambiguous. Now, Megan, if you're still here, made a fantastic point to me, which she does usually. It's pretty often that she actually makes great points. Not every time, though. But she mentioned how, well, I mean, Tyler Robinson mentioning to, I see you, mentioning to, I guess his friends via Discord or whatever, or to family members, I guess, that Charlie Kirk was a spreader of hate and whatnot, that you can really only, you can more than likely get to that position, have that opinion, if it was from a leftist perspective, which obviously is like abundant on the left. Everybody knew who Charlie Kirk was. And I mean, that could be the case, or it could be, a true Christian believer who is apolitical, and I mean, because Tyler Robinson was Mormon, and I don't think Mormons are that uh, into the two-party system, and I only say that because I believe there's a Mormon that ran for third party um, for president in the third party in Utah, and got like maybe an eighth of the vote. I forget if that was 2024 or 2020, but yeah, Utah is like Mormon Central. But that, I mean, other than that, we don't really know too much about this kid's politics or ideological leanings. It just seems that this guy, this kid, this 22-year-old white cis straight Mormon from a conservative family who all votes Republican, um, was just an online shit poster. I if not shit poster, then like deeply, deeply online. From a regular middle class family, got good grades, went off to college, and I guess went to school for electrical engineering. It's all still like super inconclusive right now. I think there's an update today. I think he just went to court. I didn't check into that. I didn't exactly see much about it. Straight Mormon are questionable. Oh, yeah. Actually, you know what? That's actually a good point. That's actually a really good point. See, this is why I love having you here. God damn it. Good point, though. Mitt Romney and Glenn Beck are Mormons. That's right. Mitt Romney is from Utah, I believe. I didn't know Glenn Beck was a Mormon. That's actually that's hella funny. I did not know that at all. Seems like Jack Mormon and a little queer. Little queer would probably be right. I would tend to agree with that. I did want to touch on this because eventually, well, actually, I'll just add that to later. See if we can actually like pair that with another story surrounding another story regarding this particular figure. Other than that, let's see here. Cancel cult. Yeah. Fuck your feelings, crowd. Sure is having crazy feelings right now. I knew they were never emotionally competent enough to be in charge of shit, but damn. Yeah, just like meltdowns galore when it comes to uh Tyler Robinson not being the accomplice that or the culprit that they were hoping that he would be. And let's see. Chaos. Beautiful chaos. Jack Mormon means raised baptized Mormon but left with faith, which I think is probably the case. You know more than I do about all kinds of things, don't you? So he was basically what's the word I'm looking for? An apostate? For lack of a better term. I think that would be the term, right? um you have recently Marjorie Taylor Greene being like, "Hey, I'm not suicidal," etc., etc. There are forces at play trying to get me to not reveal blah blah blah. You know, the whole spiel. I believe in Jesus Christ, this kind of thing, because she has actually been thinking a bit harder than she's known to be to, to think, I guess. Oh man, there's that too. Let's see here. Of course, there's this whole thing about the entire online right. Not the entire online. Listen to me. People concocting a database of thousands of people celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, engaging in cancel culture, reporting people to their employers and whatnot, which my own brother has actually been fucking doing as well, or at least, excuse me, at least did. And he's bipolar OCD, maybe schizophrenic, I forget. So do with that information what you will. It's people, just all these people trying to feel like powerful, you know, trying to feel like they have a leg up. David Hogg with a great take here. Co-chair of the DNC, even though I don't know if that's the case anymore, but he's saying, guys, I'm starting to think the podcasters running the FBI weren't hired based off merit. And yes, Austin. Yes, indeed. Yeah, the database thing is the same. Apparently, that got shut down. I guess everybody who's adding to it got like all their information leaked or something like that. So that kind of fell through. I did not know your family was Mormon. That's interesting. I would love to pick your brain about that. I mean, among several other things that were overdue on picking your brain about. That is. So, so right after this all happened, you know, not even 3 days after Charlie Kirk's murder, we had this from Brian Kilmeade from Fox News.
The way it has to be. Billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right. I would say this: we're not voting.
Look at this dude on the left. Look at this dude. Okay, so look at this shit.
It has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
He's like, yeah. Whoa. I don't know that.
Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right.
He's just like looking at us like, is this? What am I doing with my life? Why am I here? Really?
I would say this: we're not voting for the right people in North Carolina. Wait.
Yeah, disgusting. And you know, he apologized, I guess, and then you know, he kept his job. Meanwhile, something Jimmy Kimmel. We covered Jimmy Kimmel enough, like in the past couple shows, so we're not really going to cover much of it. But Chris Reagan saying it's funny to watch grown people lose the ability to comprehend that joking about something is not equivalent to condoning it. I blame the plastic and the water personally. Not like my parents' dad said, okay, uncle's a pastor. Okay, interesting. Lethal injection for the homeless was insane. Fucking batshit crazy. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, Christ on a cross. I reposted this clip of Nick Fuentes for some reason. I forget why. But someone replying to Thomas Massey.
Is he being paid by Israel? Someone like Charlie Kirk.
Oh, yeah. It's the whole Groyper thing and them like going like toe-to-toe with Charlie Kirk. Because that was a pretty sound theory for a minute, and honestly is still kind of inconclusive. I haven't really seen anything further I guess what's the word I'm looking for, corroborating that theory, that Tyler Robinson was influenced by I guess Groyperism, for lack of a better term. But maybe. Oh, this was a fucking brilliant we can't not focus on this for a second. So Ben Shapiro, a couple days after Charlie Kirk was murdered, went on Bill Maher. And I was actually able to catch Bill Maher's show when I was down in down near Bakersfield, because the hotel room I was staying at had cable, and Bill Maher had Tom Homan on. Homan, something like that. The borders are, as well as fuck, what's his name? God damn it. The guy, the Democrat from West Virginia. The guy who fucking, along with Kirsten Sinema, Joe Manchin, piece of shit Democrat, he was on as well. Anyway, I digress. I'm just rambling.
If there's a shooting at a synagogue, it is very likely to be either a white supremacist or a radical Muslim. If it is a shooting of a Republican politician, it is very likely to be a trans Antifa Marxist shooter.
That is just not
that
true. We don't know what this kid is.
We do know this kid was of the left. We do know that.
We do know what?
That this kid was of the political left. That is according to contemporaneous reporting from The Guardian as well as Tablet Magazine today.
It's 2 days out. We don't know shit, Ben.
But
we don't know shit. They never do. The internet is undefeated in getting it wrong to begin with.
It's not about the internet. That's about the actual reporting by mainstream accepted The Guardian is not a right-wing.
Here's what we heard. Here's what I was told so far, and I'll tell you what was wrong. First, I heard he's a registered Republican. Not true. Okay. Then he was a donor to Trump. Not true. His father works in the sheriff's office. Not true.
Now, I totally forgot. There is a chance this might be copyright struck because it's fucking it's HBO, and this has happened before. Whatever. I'll take my chances. Obviously, this should be fair use, but listen to what. This isn't the first time this has happened to Ben Shapiro either. Like, Ben Shapiro will often assert things that are just blatant exaggerations, if not just not true. But Bill Maher kind of calls him out on it. And when washed up, fucking dishonest Bill Maher calls you out on this shit, it's like you have issues.
There was a picture of him wearing a pro-Trump shirt. Not true. Member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Not true. We don't know what he is.
Well,
how are you so sure he's of the left? Now, I agree when you write on a bullet. What did he write on the bullet?
Catch this fascist, which is also a gamer thing.
Okay, but now I'm hearing he may have been part of that group for whom Charlie Kirk was not right-wing enough.
You mean the Groypers? Yes. I mean, so that would.
You're sure he's not that?
I'm not sure that he's not that.
A minute ago you were sure what he was.
Hold on, Bill. Hold on. Okay, because I've been.
You were.
That still hits. Well, I mean, he was on the left. I don't know if he was a Groyper or not. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out and whatnot. 2025, Bill Maher wiping the floor. Ben Shapiro, Unk still got it. Oh God! And then there's the whole thing when it comes to how fucking weird Erica Kirk is, and her history is actually like, what the actual fuck? This is the woman that was married to this guy. But we'll see, I guess. Yeah, twisted Brian Kilmeade's arm. He made an apology. See what else we got here. There was this.
Smart people don't like me, you know, and they don't like what we talk.
Hey, I didn't say it. That was all you, Trump. Oh yeah. God, so much shit happened this month. I should do this every month because this is actually hella fun. I'm actually having a good time doing this. You had Mark Zuckerberg caught on a hot mic admitting that he is totally making up Meta's U.S. investment numbers based on whatever Trump wants to hear.
How much are you spending, would you say, over the next few years?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion through 28 in the U.S. Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, it's significant.
That's a lot. Thank you, Mark. It's great to have you.
Sorry, I wasn't ready to do a for announcement. I wasn't sure what number you wanted to go with.
Wasn't sure what number you wanted to go with. And Trump's all like, this fucking nerd. But yeah, this reveals a lot. It demonstrates further that the tech giants whom Trump brags about and gives favorable treatment towards will not only tell him whatever he wants to hear, but probably aren't even committing to the giant investment numbers that they have all been announcing. So very interesting shit. Of course, there's the weird ass fucking AI generated Charlie Kirk videos like post death that have a whole lot of Israeli symbolism and what in them and whatnot. It's like, what the fuck? Charlie Kirk defending like, hey, maybe children should watch public executions. So sure, okay. All right, so halfway through the month, not to get all dark here. Megan, are you still here? I know you've been a little bit quiet. There was this take from Amazing Atheist, and it's just like it's worth pondering at the very least. Manufacture civil war, deplete population, destroy current infrastructure, introduce robot army, begin cleansing, replace all workers with AI and automation, rule over automated palaces, extract endless resources, indulge in artificial paradises. Sounds like something pulled out straight from a futuristic sci-fi dystopian series or something, or book. I hate how shit that sounds like that doesn't seem too far off from reality, you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like an unlikely future. And so in the wake of this shit, you have a lot of people on the right trying to claim that there is an epidemic of left-wing violence when all the data, all the evidence, all the studies point to right-wing extremism being the primary motivator for politically fueled violence, for political, like mass shootings that are politically motivated. And so it's just they I mean they're not the administration, the regime is not going to pay attention to that because they don't they don't believe in data or anything like that. If something is contrary to their ideological positions, to their narratives, to their goals, I guess you could say, why would they embrace it? You know? That's why Trump fired the fucking he fired the calculator. The head of the labor the Bureau for Labor and Statistics, I believe it was. Oh, bad numbers, you're fired. It's like I'm sorry you're allergic to reality, I guess. Like fuck. You must have left, didn't you? Wait a minute. Oh, I didn't even notice that. For the chat, it marks certain chats with a question mark if it's a question. Interesting. All right. Of course, we're getting more into who was Tyler Robinson, like the shooter was trans. No, the bullets were trans. The shooter's roommate was trans. The shooter listened to songs by a guy that mentions transgender sometimes. I'm here. We'll get off soon, though. Okay. Well, I'm only halfway through September, though. We've got so much more to cover. I might end up just like cutting it short. Okay. This is actually the perfect thing to end off on, and now I'll move on to the next topic. Because me and Dieter will be live tomorrow, and I suppose we can cover NSPM-7 then, as well as Kamala Harris's interview with Rachel Maddow. I guess she did like an hour-long interview, and it's definitely fucking worth going over. And hopefully everybody who's here will tune in for that. Usually do this monthly is fun. I agree. I think I will, if it means that I get to do the left coast a little bit less, which I don't mind doing each week, but it's just like, I mean, it's just draining. Politics is draining. I'll end off on this. God, there's still so much though. Yeah, so I cover the fact that JD Vance and several right-wing commentators are constantly lying to your faces because they're saying that like most of the lunatics quote while our this is a quote from JD Vance. While our side of the aisle certainly has its crazies, it is a statistical fact that most of the lunatics in American politics today are proud members of the far left. A total, complete fucking lie. Midas Touch saying, "What an evil and dangerous and completely false thing for a vice president, excuse me, of the United States to say. How dare he?" It's just remarkable. Like there's no low they won't sink to. But the facts are just not in the right's favor. And then there was Thomas Massey saying the Smith-Munt Modernization Act repealed the prohibition that kept the U.S. government from using propaganda on U.S. citizens. And I retweeted him saying, "Why would this administration even need the prohibition repealed when they already have their work done for them by Fox News, The Daily Caller, The Daily Wire, OAN, Newsmax, Blaze TV, Turning Points USA, PragerU, Breitbart, Timcast, The Rubin Report, InfoWars, Larry with Crowder, etc., 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 etc." You know? Massey is great. I do like him a lot. There are a few things where I vehemently disagree with him. But he is one of the better Republicans. And of course, we've been over that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So, oh God, there's the Anna Kasparian Destiny thing going back and forth about Erica Kirk on Twitter when they went on Piers Morgan. All right. So, final thing here. This is from my I already have these other tabs open. I'm sorry. I'm going back and forth on like a few things, but there was this from Governor Wes Moore. basically responding to Trump's failed leadership, and I retweeted saying, "But better governor than Newsom, better spoken, better politically. He's speaking truth right here." But there's a twist that we're going to get to after we hear him speak for a second.
I mean, this is a really dark time. I joined the Army when I was 17 years old, and I deployed and led soldiers overseas. And I tell people that when I think about what were the key ingredients to leadership, especially in leadership in times of crisis, it's technical competence, it's using common sense, and it's taking care of your people. Right? Those are kind of the three things that you got to center your leadership on. And there's just a lack of seriousness. There's a lack of intellectual curiosity. There is this ability of having conversations about things where every time that we are watching the commander-in-chief speak, he's actually adding confusion to a already very confusing situation. And so, but the thing I think about too is that it's not even just the fact that Donald Trump doesn't seem to be interested in actually knowing the details. He doesn't seem to be interested in being able to have a thesis that he wants to comply towards, with the exception of, I want to win the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm also deeply concerned about who do you have.
This has been like a constant fucking thing. It's like he is so desperate for that Nobel Peace Prize. Like, he will literally have meetings just to have his whole cabinet verbally suck him off, or like people that he want his approval for like investments or projects or good corporate news, whatever the fuck, saying, "Oh, you deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, sir. Your leadership is the best," and blah 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 blah. Just fucking. You might as well just like add fucking like just sloppy slurping sound effects to the fucking over the top of all of it.
Have around you that are allowing you to say this? Who do you have around you that is not educating you? I mean, I take a real sense of pride that when I look at my team, when I look at my cabinet, when I look at my agency heads, these are all subject matter experts that I lean on, that I rely on. And I never want to walk into a room where I feel like I am the only one who has the answers to questions. That means you're in the wrong room, right?
Yes, this should be like part and parcel for like any leader, let alone the fucking president.
I want to spend my time around people who are educating me, who are helping me to think differently about a situation or an issue. And Donald Trump does not have that. He has people who are the sycophants, who will go in cabinet meetings and spend 3.5 hours telling him how good he is, instead of actually educating him on the issues. And so I see, whether you're talking about America's foreign policy going around the world when we have very serious issues, or whether you're talking about this completely performative actions that he's doing about putting U.S. soldiers in the middle of American cities to go perform municipal policing functions, there's a lack of seriousness that is taking place with our policymaking processes in this country right now.
Yeah, real simple, honestly. But Wes Moore was kind of caught doing a big no recently. And let's just say he was in the middle of a meeting. Let's actually see here. I can probably actually look up Wes Moore meeting billionaire. Because this was actually protested recently. And Dieter actually sent me this. Wes Moore. I'm not even going to bother looking it up. Basically, Wes Moore was in a meeting with an oil tycoon. Like a big fucking billionaire, big name billionaire. And I forget who the protesters were, but they interrupted the meeting basically saying, let's give a toast to this guy, this billionaire. We love him. If it blows children up, if it pollutes the environment, if it makes the world a better, a worse place for our children, this guy's behind it. Let's raise our glasses and whatnot. I forget exactly who it was, and it really upsets me because it's hard to fucking find shit on Twitter. But Wes Moore was like basically overseeing it, and it's like strike one, you're out. Like there's no fucking excuse for that shit. You shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be signing off on this. You know. I did say this recently because there's a whole lot of shit, lots of concerns about, obviously this administration. I say fascist regimes operate successfully off momentum, competence, and bold rulers. If you don't have all three of those things, it fails, or at the very least, success is limited or handicapped. And I take solace in this. Whenever I see just like the fucking outrage of the day, the fucking 700th scandal of the week, a lot of these people don't know what they're doing. And it requires a lot of cohesion, which doesn't seem to always be the case in fascist regimes, and that's what ultimately leads to their failure. So even though it's going to get bad, it's going to get real fucking bad. The economy is going to fucking get destroyed. It could be worse. I hate like taking solace in the fact that it could be worse, but that doesn't make it any less dangerous and shitty. Also, this kind of this month got me thinking about the way people tend to communicate and how people talk past each other and shit. And there's just no empathy anywhere. There's no, like, if you're stopping and thinking about something and the way something's framed, if the way something is being presented, you are like automatically more free than fucking anybody else. Because you're not just falling in line, you're not just going along with a narrative, which we're all guilty of, but asking questions, especially if it's of a source that you trust and you're very familiar with, that'll always put you above and beyond. Like that'll always put you they'll always guarantee that you're more like you think more freely than the average person. So I say right here, if you are not going to at least try to understand why or how some people can feel a certain way about certain people or certain things, that's called empathy, by the way, then you cannot tell people how they're supposed to feel about anything or anyone. I think it's pretty simple. Yeah, we'll talk about NSPM-7 tomorrow. We'll talk about Kamala Harris. We'll talk about Tylenol as well. I don't know. Maybe an entire month is too long for one of these things. But like, there's so much that happened this month. I only got like halfway through, basically. But to end off on the Charlie Kirk thing, I guess you could say, I'll share this, and I think a lot of people can resonate with this because it really does, like I said, it does take empathy when it comes to addressing such difficult topics such as this. Here we go. So, my therapist / VA friend had probably one of the best takes I've seen on the overall reaction and fallout from the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So she says, I think Charlie Kirk's death is hitting so many people so hard because they see themselves in him and his family. They identify with him, his beliefs, his culture, his role as a father, a husband, a religious man. For many people, it's the first time that they have had to truly reckon with what it's like to be violently and viciously targeted simply for how you identify, what community you're part of, for what you believe in, and who you are. That is an absolutely harrowing and confusing thing to have to come to grips with. It shatters any illusion of safety or security in this world, and it taps into our most primal fears. It probably feels extremely difficult to comprehend why there are so many other people who aren't experiencing the same level of shock and horror. And it probably feels painful and invalidating to observe some people react in a callous fashion. Don't they see me? It sends the message, I am alone. The world is not safe. The reality is, every day in our country and across the world, people's lives are targeted and disregarded because of their identities, their lifestyles, their culture, their beliefs, by overt and covert acts of violence that are enacted in both policies and interpersonal practices. Violence is not rare. If one has been marginalized and forced to watch their own community endure this regularly, they are already painfully aware of this reality. These types of atrocities simply may not hold the same level of impact or evoke the same level of response. Becoming desensitized may be a result of familiarity. If this has been your experience, it probably also feels deeply confusing, frustrating, invalidating, and dishonest to watch others respond to this event with such shock and dismay when this level of pain regularly goes unnoticed as being the norm that it is for many. Don't they see me? Again, a message is sent. I am alone. The world is not safe. I would like to live in a world where none of this is normal. And though I am not convinced that there is some hopeful utopia out there where everyone lives in harmony and nobody ever causes anybody else pain, I do believe that it's worth fighting to come as close as we can to one. It certainly feels like a very steep goal when there is inevitable incongruence in the world and very real danger. At the same time, a lot of our incongruence has been manufactured to maintain man made power structures and hierarchies. To live for a challenge, a chase, the drama of it all, simply because we weren't sure. We aren't simply because we aren't sure what else we are supposed to do with its existence. I don't really have answers, but in all my work with people, I've come to believe that what we all really need is to be able to believe that we are not alone. We will keep each other safe. But that requires all of us to take a step back and not only look at the bigger picture, but also seriously commit ourselves to principled actions in our everyday lives, to act in service of one another, rather than just wishing and hoping that harmony will somehow find us. It means considering how history has led us here and how the present moment is leading us to where we are going. It means taking responsibility for the world that we live in and the consequences of how we engage with it. My heart goes out to anybody who has been touched by the pain of this world. May we all also know what it's like for our lives to be touched by peace. Stop conflating empathy and sympathy. I'm not. They're not the same thing. I specifically explained what empathy was. Like understanding how or why people can feel a certain way about certain people or certain things is different. That's different from sympathy. Sympathy is a selfish thing. Well, it's a more selfish thing. In fact, actually, sympathy is more about, well, I see how you feel, but what about me? You know, I can sympathize with you because I'm me. Let's see. No, I think I actually have it saved here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, wow. I haven't seen that in a while. Okay, here we go. How empathy works and sympathy can't. And that's not always true though. Sympathy is understanding, empathy is having been there. Well, it's more complicated than that. Two minutes to explain how empathy works and why sympathy can't.
Stuff goes wrong for all of us, and at some point, it's our turn again to land in the pit of despair. But it's the conversations that we have whilst we're down there and how we respond to them that will determine just how fast we get back out again. Essentially, people will have one of two responses to us when they see us in pain: sympathy or empathy. Take one, the sympathetic response. The problem with sympathy is that it's based on the three things that worsen and prolong the bad situation that the person is in: pity, victim status, and agreement. When we sympathize, we add our own sorrow, fear, annoyance, our pity to the other person's feelings. And whilst they now feel less lonely, being joined by another person confirms that the pit is real and bad. When we treat people like victims, they behave like victims.
Sympathy requires pity.
And agreement just makes the walls...
I've showed this before? I didn't know that.
The pit all the more intimidating. Sympathy always ends in the same way, with a bungled rescue attempt, which almost always fails, because deep down, we don't want to be rescued. We want to be right. Okay, everyone.
Yeah.
Take two. Quiet on set. Roll camera.
I know
and empathy. When we empathize with someone, we have the power to change the game. By reflecting back the feeling that we see the person having, we show them that they have been understood. Deeply understood. By reflecting back their circumstances in plain words, we help them to step back and regain perspective, and importantly, the belief that they can repair their own situation for themselves. When all's said and done, sympathy can actually feel nice for a bit. But when it comes to getting to a solution, only empathy has the power to get someone up and running again.
And this is why the left is actually so adamant about actually reaching some sort of like solution for Gaza, like you brought up, like, you know. Whereas it's like, oh, I sympathize with Gazans, but like, what can you do? It's just like empathy takes that extra step, like like doing something about it. Or at least advocating for something to be done.
Okay, take three.
And then there's this one as well. Empathy versus sympathy. Another short one.
So what is empathy and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa White.
I see.
Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nurse.
That's my. This is probably like what hooked me the first time.
Is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of...
Yeah, that's what it was. That was my biggest takeaway with this. Empathy is feeling with people. Sympathy is feeling for people. That's like one of the major distinctions between the two that I've always made.
Sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom.
Like as far back as I can remember, that like that's the distinction I have made. It's like I feeling with someone is different than feeling for someone. That's like a pretty major distinction. That's how I've always seen it.
And they say, "I'm stuck. It's dark. I'm overwhelmed."
You don't have to experience something to empathize with someone. That's the thing. I see what you're saying, but you don't have to experience something to feel with someone rather than for someone. You cannot feel with something you haven't experienced. I disagree. I disagree.
And then we look and we say,
it's not like you're going to, it's not like you're going to have the exact same feelings as someone else. That's impossible. But that the distinction is still, it still exists between empathy and sympathy. Like that distinction is still there.
"Hey, space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, 'I'm stuck. It's dark. I'm overwhelmed.'" And then we look and we say, "Hey, climb down. I know what it's like down here, and you're not alone." Sympathy is, "Ooh, it's bad, no. You want a sandwich?" Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with "at least." And we do it all the time, because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around.
Yeah, that's another thing about sympathy is worrying more about silver linings, I guess. You don't feel the emotions that come with having experience. That's empathy. Sympathy is imagining what those feelings maybe. Sympathy is good. Empathy is good. Empathy is, I experienced this. I guess it could be like it could be more so. Oh, I've been there before. Like I can relate to this because I've actually experienced this. I have been there, so I can relate to this. But if you can relate to this, that doesn't mean that you can empathize with it, because that requires feeling with whatever it is someone's going through. And someone who shares the same exact experience, that you have, like, that doesn't mean that they're going to be able to empathize with you because, like, they dealt with it and they moved on. And sometimes they're not, they might not be capable of expressing or even feeling empathy for you, despite you guys sharing similar experiences. I think it goes much deeper than that. Basis for empathy experience, sympathy is compassion. I don't know about that. I don't think that's true.
So I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
Okay. Because, like, most leftists, you conflate the two or misunderstand the difference. I'm not that's not what's happening here. Again, like, you don't have to you don't have to experience something to have empathy for an experience or someone going through an experience. And you can experience the same thing as another person, yet not have empathy for that person, despite going through a similar experience. Sympathizing is just it's words without action. Like, you're feeling for someone rather than with someone, or you're feeling for an experience rather than with an experience, like putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Saying sympathy is empathy when you think, because you think sympathy is pity. Yeah. Empathy is experience. I don't agree. I don't think that's never been the way I've approached empathy. I just history of empathy as a concept. Concept of empathy began in mid-19th century. German aesthetic term feeling into, projecting one's feelings into art or nature. Like, the literal definition of empathy is generally described as the ability to perceive another person's perspective, to understand, feel, and possibly share and respond to their experience. Possibly share and respond. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be shared. Whereas, history of sympathy as a concept. No, sympathy. Shifted over time. 18th century context. Since before any of our lifetimes, actually. Not much about sympathy. History of sympathy as a concept. A concept of sympathy, a definition for that would be the perception of, understanding of, and reaction to the distress or need of another person. Distinctions between empathy, compassion, and pity are also related concepts. Okay, right here. The related word empathy is often used interchangeably with sympathy. Empathy more precisely means that one is able to feel another's feelings. I see. Okay. But then again, it does say under the definition for empathy, it says you don't necessarily need to share or respond to you don't need to share an experience to express or hold empathy is the thing, because it exists on a spectrum. Yeah, the ability to perceive another person's perspective. I don't know. People should just care about others. I mean, using it interchangeably shouldn't even really be too big of a deal anyway. I think I've always seen that like sympathy is more of like a selfish thing. Empathy is a lot more like there's a connection there, a lot more connected. Sympathy is more of like I said, like at least like, or you don't want to be as in tune with what someone else is feeling. That's how I've seen it. Anyway, been going on for over 2 hours, and I should be editing videos for my other channel. But thanks for being here, Megan. It's nice to have someone to actually like interact with and engage with for all the bullshit that's going on. I'll probably definitely do this again in October. But yeah, everybody else, anybody who's still here or on rewatch, thank you for checking this out. Obviously, we'll be live again tomorrow evening. You guys have a good night.